Carried. Kia ora na. Tēnā kōrua. We move to item 9, proposed change of decision-making allocation for Collindale Park. So I will move, Councillor Collins will second it, just to confirm that's okay with you, Councillor Collins?
Yeah, Paul, thanks, Chair.
And look, I'll get everybody to introduce themselves, but before I do, I just really wanted to acknowledge the local board, the chair, Lotu Fuli, and also their leadership. The comment in regards to this particular issue is that the local board, or Tara Papatoetoe local board, ended up putting their LDI in regards to this. And that needs to be acknowledged, because guess what happened? With the fact that they put their LDI to this, things around Collindale Park continued. It didn't stop, it continued. And as a result of that, we are in a situation now where there are motorsport applications and leases coming through. The park has been developed, again through Councillor Simpson's and Councillor Henderson's committee. There were some monies put towards Collindale Park, but the local board started this. They ensured that we continued with the work that is that had to happen on Collindale Park. So to them, I say thank you so much to the local board chair, to her local board in regards to this. Before we get our team to introduce themselves, I will not be entertaining any questions on Speedway. And the reason I'm not going to entertain any questions on Speedway, because this is about the lease. Speedway, I have no doubt at all, will be coming through to whether it be this particular committee, or whether it be the finance committee, or whether it be the planning committee, but that will happen. This is all about the lease. So I will not be entertaining any questions on Speedway. So look, after that, again to the local board, thank you so much. And I'll just hand it over to our team to introduce themselves and then talk to the report. Kia ora.
Morena, my name is Carole Canler. I'm the new Senior Policy Manager for Community Investment. So this report pertains to the decision-making allocation for the Collindale Motorsport Precinct. Upon the request from the local board, staff assessed whether the precinct functioned as a regional or local facility or park, and the conclusion is that the catchment is regional and that the park serves a regional function. Therefore, it is recommended that the decision allocation is moved to the governing body. Happy to answer any questions.
So as previously stated, the local board support this coming through. So I'm going to ask for questions, and I'll go here first in the town hall. So I've got Councillor Bartley and then Councillor Walker. Oh, sorry, Councillor Coombe and then Councillor Walker. Okay, so I'll go to Councillor Coombe and then Councillor Dalton and then Councillor Walker online.
Tēnā koe mātua. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Thank you. I'm very happy to support this. I just have one partai around what precedent does this set for other local parks, and I'm thinking like examples in the past where there was a push to say that Chamberlain Park should be a regional park. So can I just get some clarification about the implications? Kia ora.
Through the chair, this sets an example, not a precedent. That's a real legal term, and I think when we look at this, it's not stripping away a delegation from a local board. It's our local board requesting that they believe the outcomes that are being delivered through to Collindale Park are sub-regional or regional, and they in a way would prefer to focus on local community outcomes. So I don't think we had any request from the appropriate Albert Eden local board around Chamberlain Park. Therefore, it was never considered and never assessed. We do have a few more of these waiting, and all of them are requests from the local board to the governing body.
Ka pai. Councillor Dalton.
Thank you, Chair, and I will be supporting this as well. My question is around point 31, where we talk about there's been no capital or operational costs included into the LTP, which will be required for it to reach its vision. Well, actually, the Aotearoa Papatoe Local Board's vision. Is there a process for that to happen once it is a regional park?
So through the chair, the processes are the same as always, which is annual plan, long-term plan. That's the processes for new funding for any development of any park. And as you can see, there was funding allocated in the past through the Finance and Performance Committee, so that would have been because it was unidentified budget originally, and a case had to be put to the committee. So in a way, all the funding apart from LDI was always a governing body decision anyway, and the local boards used advocacy through the LTP and the annual plan process. So it will still need to come up through all those normal processes.
Chair, it raises a concern for me that has not happened. It might be context, it might be process, but there is a vision, it exists. It's now going to be regional, and there is nothing allocated for it. I would expect there might have been something going down through the ABS to the board before. If there's no money in the long-term plan for it right now, do we wait for the next 3 years, the review?
Yeah. So I'll let Mace get to that one.
Kia ora Chair, kia ora Councillor Dalton. So there is funding there. So the maintenance funding, ABS or asset-based services funding still exists. This decision is about transferring the decision making only. The other funding, as my colleague Kataraina talked about, was the 8.9 million, which is currently in the plan for the landowner enabling works for this parkland, that then enables partnerships with community groups such as BMX and the Motorsport, motocross, which are leases and they meet their own development rights. There may be applications through the Sport and Recreation Facilities Investment Fund or other grant funding, but it's those enabling works that will enable community to realise the motorsport outcomes that are envisaged on this park.
Thank you. So to clarify, 31 is completely about the vision, not about the ongoing.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the 8.9 was the funds that went through both Councillor Simpson's and Henderson's committee. That's still there. Councillor Walker, and then Councillor Hills, and then Bartley.
Sure, got a couple of questions. Quite obviously, we're talking about motorsport in part here. What is the status of the motorsport strategy for Auckland that I would have thought was helping to inform things?
Kia ora, Councillor Walker. So, Motorsport Facility Plan is something that is on the agenda with Motorsport New Zealand and the sports sector in Auckland, and that is planned to occur in the next 12 months. It was planned, as you may recall, but last year, but because of COVID-19 and those disruptions in the sports sector, that was put off until now. But there's a clear view of motorsport collaborating for that code plan. There are some challenges that it's not a single code. It is a group of codes coming together to achieve that, but that plan is in place, and one of my staff, Dave Stewart's, leading that.
Okay, the other question I've got is just around point 24, where it mentions kart sport Mount Wellington. what is the status of the Auckland Motorcycle Club, or bucket racing as they've been known, in terms of access to Collindale Park here and any arrangements around them?
Kia ora, Councillor Walker. I think this will be discussed in the next item concerning the lease proposal that's coming up, should you make this decision to accept the decision-making rights for Collindale Park.
So, Councillor Walker, you'll be the first off the rank when we get to that particular item.
One other question. It does mention around the proposed speedway move to Collindale Park. What is the status of any stadium strategy that would inform that?
So, Councillor Walker, just to let you know, that discussion is going to be ongoing. This is around the allocation of the park going through to region. We will address that particular question later on. It will not be addressed at this particular one. Have you got any other questions in regards to the decision making as per A and B, please?
Well, I am raising it because I would have thought it was entirely germane to the future development that's shown on the site for Speedway, which is right at the front. I'm just asking a question as to where that strategy is at, because currently Speedway are at Western Springs, and I think are quite successful and quite happy there. That's my understanding.
Yep, so a decision around that will be made, but it won't be at this committee in regards to this particular item. So if you haven't got any questions, I'll go now to Councillor Hills.
Kia ora, thank you. And I know this is about the exchange of the lease, but the climate impact statement does read, not the exchange of the lease, the decision-making, sorry. And I don't know whether to bring it up here or the next item, but the climate impact statement says there's capacity for climate change reduction and carbon offset and the delivery with natural materials where possible, planting trees and providing walking and cycling to increase transport options. But I guess that is not really showing the true impact of this park. At what point do we discuss that? Is it this item or the next? Because my concern is this is a further move to create a permanent motorsport park, where in 10 years maybe that's not a possible future for our city. So I'm just getting or understanding how our thinking is on that. Are we ensuring that we are future-proofing this for other purposes if there is no more oil in 15, 20 years time, or are we? Yeah, so I'm just not sure the climate impact statement is really telling the full picture.
Just to reflect, all the impact statements, this is the issue that comes up with all of the impact statements, they're relative to the decision being requested. There are some matters for which you've already made developments decisions, some of those in Legacy Council some time ago, and generally these reports are on top of those foundation decisions. The foundation decision for the activities that are being undertaken on this existing park were made by Manukau City and Legacy Councils. It gets quite hard. I suppose I could reassure you that you are the decision maker for all future decisions on this, including Speedway, Bucketway. You will be making those decisions. You can decide then how to go. I would mention that electric cars are some of the fastest cars in the world, with some of the best torque, and could be the future for some of us motorheads who will still love it forever. So, that we do need to see some of those possibilities.
Yeah, and I guess my comment is that are we ensuring that anything for the future includes that? Because I have seen that electric cars are being raced at the moment, and we just need to keep in mind that the changing nature of what's needed for oil and petrol cars versus the infrastructure for electric charging or different things. So I guess I'm just making sure we keep that in mind, that where the decisions that come could be wasted infrastructure within 10 years.
Kia ora, Mr Chairman and Councillor Hills. I think the Motorsport Code Plan or Facility Plan will enable us to look at the future fuel sources and climate impact more in a holistic way. As Katarana has said, the decisions for this to be a motorsport park were made some time ago, but acknowledging that we need to be progressive in this regard.
And Councillor Hills, just to let you know that once this decision is approved, we will have more oversight than what we would have in regards to climate change. So, look, that'll definitely be at the forefront, because I have no doubt at all that yourself and Councillor Clume and other councillors will make sure that it is at the forefront of our minds. So I'll move to Councillor Bati, then Matuakake, and then Councillor Cooper, hopefully to close on questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to acknowledge Chair Lotu Fuli and the Otara Papatoi Local Board for taking on the responsibility of this park when it was under their responsibility. Did I say responsibility twice? I did. Okay. Jurisdiction. Yeah. Their responsibility and their responsibility, financial responsibility. So yeah, just want to acknowledge what they did there and to thank them. And I just was curious, were there any other local boards that are in this situation with this kind of responsibility?
In some ways it differs from local board to local board. What we do have is some contiguous use of parks that, and some of them are local and some of them are regional. We have that on the edges of Waitakere. We have this on the edges of the Domain, where as a Domain is a contiguous space, actually one little part requires Waitemata local board's approval and then the Domains for the rest. There are areas where local boards are looking at that. Tomarata, Mace have said, part of that is contiguous with the regional park. So local boards are identifying areas where they believe they are part of a wider regional park and think it doesn't make much sense to have a small portion which people use like a regional park having decisions made locally. So there are about 3 or 4 lining up behind this. So you will be seeing more of these.
Matuakake, question, and then once they are finished, I will then go to comments. Matuakake.
Kia ora tātou. Yeah, I want to also acknowledge the local board for carrying the mauri of this up to this point. I also want to acknowledge the man Colin Dell and his legacy. Ngā mihi atu ki a koe. And I guess his relationship back in the day with mana whenua. First and foremost, the question I have is in relation to mana whenua, and that is, I didn't get a strong context of what options mana whenua had a preference of, or what their views were in the report. Can the officers just articulate what that is?
Through the chair, we have not requested the views of mana whenua in regards to the options.
Okay, again, that is the next process. Is that what I understand?
Once this decision is made, then there will be a change from who makes the decision. This is essentially a process report around who was the decision maker around this piece of land.
Yeah, and Mr Chairman, and just through you, mana whenua are certainly aware of this decision change and preserve their rights in terms of the agreement to lease on the Marae Precinct, which is an active discussion with the local board.
Okay, so they're aware of it, and to what context? I guess I'm wanting to hear what's their view around the whole lease arrangement.
So if you look at paragraph 66, they've clearly stated that they're interested in how future developments occur within the precinct, particularly on how it may impact around the marae area.
So the chair, if I may add to that, I understand also that the local iwi is part of the cooperative management committee, which oversees the park. So they're obviously involved.
Ka pai, matua. Councillor Cooper.
I just think maybe the question is probably better put in the next item.
So there's a further recommendation that mana whenua consultation on the three options presented in a report. I'm trying to find out where the three options. So look at, if we finish with the particular questions, matua kake, just to give you some context with this, in regards to the Collindale Park, when it was first purchased in 2003, consultation with mana whenua occurred even in 2003. Subsequently, since 2003 and through this whole process, they have been consulted with, even to the extent where Te Akatai Wauhua and then Ngāti Te Ata ended up coming to an arrangement in regards to the marae that's been noted on page 26 of the agenda item. So both Te Akatai Wauhua and Ngāti Te Ata know what has occurred on that particular site. So mana whenua have been consulted in regards to this, to what's happening on Collindale Park. So in regards to this procedural item, let's get through the approval process first, and then if there's further consultation with mana whenua, it will happen, but they have been aware of what is happening on their park, not only through the local board, but also through the region. So if that's okay, Matua, I'll then head to comments. Kia ora. Just thank you to our staff, and I'm going to head to comments, and I have got Councillor Collins first for comment, and then Councillor Dalton.
Thank you, Chair, and I hope that you can hear me okay. Chair, I just wanted to echo your sentiments that you shared at the beginning of the item and thanking the local board. The decision to relinquish or surrender $280,000 a year of our LDI funding to ensure that Collindale Park was kept up, it was running and it was maintained, was made when I was working with the local board. I was chair at the time. And so I feel like we've gone full circle here. In the eyes of the local board at the time, and even before my involvement in the local board, we've always seen Collindale Park as having a regional function. And if you look at the users of the park, a lot of those sports groups have pulled much wider than the Otara Papatoetoe local board. You're getting people from very far in the south to right across the city, and it's in that light that we've always seen it as a regional facility. So I want to thank the local board first and foremost. I'm not sure if Chair Lotu is on the call, but I think it's important that we express our gratitude to the local board and to those who were members prior to this term of the local board for all of their work, their desire to keep the park running, their desire to have people visit it. And I know that many of the users of Collindale Park want young people in particular, want a diverse group of people participating in the sports that are available at Collindale Park. So yeah, this is full circle for us. It's quite a good moment for the local board, for those who've been wanting this to be the case for some time. And I think it shows the generosity of the local board. Granted, it was their Ollie for the last round of considerations for their financial commitments. So, yeah, I'm really happy that we've reached this point. I'm really excited for today, and I want to thank councillors. I want to thank yourself, Chair, and your involvement in making sure this has come to the table today. And once again, reiterate my thanks to both my former colleagues on the local board and the current local board at the moment. Thank you.
Yeah, whakatei lava. Councillor Collins, I'm getting Sandra to draft just a recommendation to thank them, especially in regards to the financial assistance that they gave Collindale Park. I think it's important that that get acknowledged in regards to this, so that's going to be drafted if you're okay to include that, Councillor Collins.
Yes, that's fine by me. Thanks, Chair.
Councillor Dalton.
Chair, my comments are the same as Councillor Collins, Bartley and yourself. And not only did the Ōtara Papatoetoe Local Board carry the Māori of this particular vision for 10 years, we're 10 years down the track now, and very hard to implement a vision on a local board budget. I think it's really important to acknowledge that their only was this. Of all the things they could have asked for their community, they put forward the debt and said, can we just get rid of this for us? It's a burden. So Ōtara Papatoetoe Local Board are one of the most generous boards around. You know, they are humble, they dig it in, they're quiet, they fly under the radar, they achieve for their community. And it's not easy to let go. It can't be easy to let go of an asset, but the recognition that it's impossible for them to be able to deliver that vision and hand to regional. And I know that they will be included in future decisions or discussions anyway. So just an acknowledgement to their role that they have played in keeping Collindale Motorsport Park alive. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Dalton. And look, just to let everybody know, I contacted Collindale on Tuesday, just to let him know that this particular item is coming up. So he's pleased. I want to acknowledge, obviously, all the staff that's been involved in Collindale. Martin, I see you at the back there, so I just want to meet to you. So look, I've just got C to be included in there, which is thank the Ōtara Papatoetoe Local Board for assistance through their locally driven initiative, LDI, for Collindale Park, and their support of this process. So I just wanted to include that because the fact that they supported it during that period. So look, if there's no further comments, Councillor Cooper. Hi, Finn. Yeah, thank you. So look, I'll put the recommendation. All those in favour?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Thank you. Item